indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Susan, could you please do roll call?
Yep. Walsh.
Present.
Andres.
Present.
Reardon.
Present.
LaRose. Present. Layton.
Present.
Stasinski.
Present.
Hepner.
Present.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to the agenda. If everyone could please look for any conflict of interest. All right.
It's in the door in the mailbox.
I don't think there's any conflict of interest, but let Ally just confirm. We do need to add one item to the business before the parks as well.
And that would be,
Yeah, well, okay.
I move to add a sledding party date to the 9D of the agenda.
Second. Okay. All right. Motion made by Reardon with the addition of the sledding party 9D and supported by Layton. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion passed to approve the agenda. All right. Public comment? No. All right. Moving on to the approval of the minutes from September 23rd.
Do we have them? We don't have them.
Yeah, we don't have the,
I didn't see him in the.
yeah,
packet.
they're not.
I don't think I saw them online either.
No, is it?
They're online.
Are
Were they online?
Yeah. You can do them next month.
Okay. I guess we'll,
And there are minutes to the geocaching one. But
yeah, which, are we
Oh,
supposed to?
yes, that's right, that's what I saw, yeah.
Are we supposed to approve the minutes from the subcommittee? Okay. So I guess we can go ahead and approve the minutes from the subcommittee meeting for the geocache that was held on October 21st, which those are attached in our packet.
I'll move to approve the Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 minutes.
October 21st.
15th, that's the top's wrong.
Oh, the top, okay. I'll support that, so,
With the correction
of
of the
the
date.
October 15th date.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Is it still- Okay. All right, motion made by Walsh to approve the minutes from the October 15th, corrected from the 21st to the 15th, supported by Andres. All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
I don't think I can vote because I wasn't
Just
there.
real quick, is it your guys'? I have October 15th.
Yeah,
I think
it
we're
is,
looking at-
today is the 21st, so that's like
Yeah.
the meeting that, today,
Yeah.
the actual minutes were from the 15th. That we just approved.
Gotcha.
But shouldn't that meeting date should have been the 15th on the top, not the, is in the description, it's the 15th.
Right.
Yes, I
It's okay on the minutes, it's just not on the,
think
wait.
the
Is that what you're,
discrepancy,
yeah.
the top says the 21st, which
Yeah.
is today's meeting for this.
Oh, the
month,
memo.
For this.
The memo,
for the
yeah.
memo, and then
The minutes are
actual
fine,
minutes say
yeah.
the 15th.
I see what you're saying,
So
yeah, and you're just
this-
adopting the memo, the minutes, not the memo at this
Not the
time.
memo
Yeah.
or the geocaching
Yeah.
recommendation.
No,
the-
just those
Just
minutes.
approving the minutes for that meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
And really, it's the people that were there at that.
okay,
Just making sure.
okay. All right, and then we'll approve the minutes from September 23rd at the next meeting when they're attached in our packets. you can all look at that on the online packet in the meantime. Correspondences, I don't think
I
there.
didn't see any.
I don't think there was anything new. We did have some for the geocache.
Yeah.
There were some for the geocache subcommittee,
Several emails, yeah.
yes. So, nothing new. Moving on to reports. Garrison, could you please give us a treasurer's report?
Yeah, so Beth just explained the balanced budget portion, but really for September, there was very little activity. The one thing, there's 4,000 in supplies, but really that was all for the farmer's market, so that'll get moved to the line below it for food and security incubator. It's the only edit that'll happen, when you see it next month, we'll look at just one line down.
Okay. There's no questions on the treasurer's report. We can move on to 8B, the subcommittee report for the food security incubator.
The only report that I have for that is that our last market is this Thursday for the season, so we'll be kind of shutting that down. And then the subcommittee is meeting next week on Wednesday to kind of do a debrief of the market and all of that. So more to come November from that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Moving on to 8C, staff report. Is that Sam or Sarah?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything that's not on the agenda. Okay.
We're getting a ladder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And I guess, I mean, I could quickly report on Holiday Woodlands to that community engagement process. I currently have landscape architects, so you guys know Tim, he's been at your meetings in the past working on 2 kind of concept renderings for the site after the survey that we had. So I'm expecting to have those here probably by the end of the month. I'm going to run them through the working group that we had, and then we'll have a public, like, community engagement, some sort of an open house or input session on those 2 plans, and then narrow it down to kind of one concept plan for items to add to the site and where those locations may be. So kind of working through that. I initially was thinking maybe doing the community engagement open house prior to your regular meeting in November. This meeting starts at 6, so do something from like 4 to 6 or 6:30, or I don't know, depending on the length of your November meeting, that might be helpful, at least for you to be able to be at the meeting during some period of time versus an additional night. But at the same time, I don't know.
If not, then could we double it up at the sledding party? It's a way to get people to the sledding party.
Oh, we could do that at the sledding party. Or we could always leave it open to, the grant ends at the end of the year, so I need to get somewhere.
I'm fine with November too, if that works. I was just
Yeah.
thinking
I
back.
feel like we should do it sooner than later.
Sure.
Yeah, I just don't know, that's something that came to me today, so this is very, like, a new thought, so don't write it in your books yet, but more to come in the next week or 2 for that.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. All right, if there's no more staff reports, we can move on to business before the Parks Commission, 9A, the geocaching subcommittee recommendation. So in the packet, you can see we approved the minutes from the meeting, but there's also a description from what the subcommittee discussed involving the geocache at Jens Park.
So I see that there's a suggested motion, but we've already approved the minutes. I guess
Yeah,
I didn't see that on it, so.
We took the other approval time to do that, so we
So
kind
really,
of,
we just need the one motion.
yep. So I guess, did everyone have a minute to kind of read through that? So ultimately, we're leaving the cache there, and Peter is gonna be the one that still owns it and manages it. And he's gonna update the page with our link to, I believe, the other caches.
That's Peter.
Correct. Yeah, Peter is in attendance tonight again, so.
Well, I'll move to approve the geocaching permit for O Genevieve, subject to the following conditions. The applicant manages the cache and the cache webpage. The applicant will link East Bay Township Parks website and geocache page to O Genevieve cache page, and then the township retains the right to archive the cache for any reason or at any time.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Walsh to approve the geocaching permit and supported by Reardon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passed.
I'll just say that was my first geocache, so I got,
Yeah. You'll have to go find it again.
I finally figured out how to use the app.
Dog and baby this
I
morning.
don't know if you've noticed, but there's been, if I'm interrupting.
No,
No.
Coming up. So we talked about this on Peter Hoyt. My address, 5266 East AB Avenue, Kalamazoo, Michigan, 49048. Thanks for letting me speak to you. There's a very old cache on Power Island. And there's another very old cache. There's only 4 for a particular date that people do runs for. And people from around the world come to Traverse City. I mean, literally from around the world. And they pay Captain Mike out of, and I'm sorry, West Bay someplace, to go to Power Island on a pontoon boat for a 2 or 3 hour tour, if that sounds familiar. Gilligan is not on the boat, but he might be. And these people, when they come to town, they go looking for other old caches to work on filling what's called a jasmer. And since we've talked last, there've been 2 or 3 people that have come from around the state to go get that. Next year, we'll be having a couple big events in the summer, and you can expect to see people from around the world again. The season's kind of ended, so when I put a counter for flags on the page, you can see who comes from where. Unfortunately, it doesn't go back the 19 years to see that, and I apologize, I can't fix that, but it will go forward, and you will be able to see that people from around the world will be coming to that cache on the Power Island, and then they will be coming to Genevieve as well, and many of the other older caches that are in the area, and so feel free to look at the logs, you'll see it's been already 2 or 3 people found it in the last month since it got reactivated, so. And people noticed immediately, I had several people reach out to me when you archived it. People were very concerned because it's a 19-year-old cache, and they were, so that you brought it back is appreciated by the community. So one of the things I didn't share with you guys before, maybe Beth shared it with you, on top of being maybe addicted to geocaching, I haven't started the 12-step process, so I can say that. I'm also the president of Michigan Geocaching Organization, so I represent and work with about 1,300 to 1,400 Michigan geocachers around the state and a couple people from outside the state. And I've only been on the board for 2 years in February, but I've been the president for the last year. But I've been a member for 12 years now. And what that affords me is, and will ultimately transfer, and I will help you guys with, is so many other resources. I'll talk to Sam here about some stuff that I think that we as an organization can bring to you to help you make your project even better. My goals are, there are 2 basic things that they do. One is to promote geocaching and through education through the city, through the state, pardon me. And then the other thing is we worked out a deal with the state DNR parks, the state parks, because it used to be you had to pay $10 and fill out an application for every one of the caches. We stepped in and we pay that $10 fee for the entire state, and anybody that's a MyGo member then can place a cache. You just got to fill out the application. You no longer have to pay the $10, and not even all of them. So that's what MyGo brings amongst many, many, many other things, and I look forward to helping you if that's what you, if you wish to use those resources.
Is that geocaches for state land? To put
Yes.
it on state land? Okay.
Yes. So if you're a member of MyGo and you want to put it on that, you just have to take care of the application. The $10 fee is waived. A lot of the other, if you're not, then you're supposed to pay the $10 fee. But, and I know you guys aren't paying a fee, but again, you see, there's a process that we work with and that I'm very familiar with this whole thing. And so I look forward to, if you want to use those resources, I look forward to being the pathway to set you up with those resources.
So that's actually a really great segue into something that I wanted to talk about related to geocaching, was doing a
Thank you.
Yeah,
course.
thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Was doing a course, and either Peter can potentially lead that course, or we could work with his resources to put on some sort of geocaching course, but do one, we're kind of thinking like January, February would kind of be a good time, if that sounds good to you guys. But we wanted to make sure it was in the newsletter if we're going to be doing it, and that goes out in November, finalized in November, out in December. So we're kind of looking for your guidance on if that's something that you guys would be interested in doing as a geocaching class.
Would it make more sense to do it like in the springtime?
We could, we end up running into spring break, so spring break for TCAPS is the 24th through the 28th of March, so, and then they're kind of tend to be around that time, so beginning of April, March, so you're either pushing it into like May, which is getting close to like end of school season and people going on vacations, so you
If
kind of would need to
I
find the
may-
right place to slot it in with all of those things.
Something to think about is when you do I taught 5 of these classes this year and a couple classes in the years past. Typically, we like to take people, show them how to use the phone and the app or GPS if they're crazy enough to do that, and we take them right out and go find caches. A little hard in Traverse City, typically in the wintertime, but we can do caches around here that aren't official caches, but we can make them look like real caches for the day, so you can go out and find those caches.
I think it'd be great to do them in East Bay parks too, showing
Yeah.
them how to use it to go
Right.
into our
And you can do
parks.
that. The other thing, and maybe down the road, because I'm working with one of my 2 libraries next to my house, is Makers, how to make a proper cache, and then an advanced class in geocaching, so that, because in an hour, when you're introducing people from, I don't know, 4 and 5 years old with the parents up to retirees, 70-some years old, and you're doing technologies, an hour is, it's tough to get it all there. You can, but it's hard to try to get everybody on board. And so a bunch of different tools that we can go through to get you to that, whether it's an event and we bring other geocachers in to help co-teach the class. We have a PowerPoint presentation, whether Sam does it, whether my regional vice president for Traverse City area does it, or I come up and do it. I'm happy to do that. But we won't leave you hanging. We'll get you to where you want to be with however you want to go about it. I just remember, there's a lot of snow, and sometimes you got to dig, so you just hope that it's not been a snow day.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, maybe like the end of April, beginning of May wouldn't be a bad time.
Yeah.
We could actually
End
advert-
the first week of June. I mean, we're still in school.
You guys are still in school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it'd be kind of, because then you could advertise it actually at the sledding party.
Right.
Yeah.
As one avenue too.
Plus,
For
we
that?
could do like a little craft thing at the sledding party, like make your own little cache. I know Beth said she brought in a bunch of like old tins and stuff.
That could be fun.
Yeah, okay. So something like,
So, we talked about those tins, those are great in like Arizona where it's dry.
Sure.
Michigan, we have something called snow and rain, and those tins will rust in 30 days.
Okay.
And then you're fighting to get them open. So, and that's part of that maker's cache, we talk about what makes a great container. I'm guessing that's a cache.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
that's what looks like the one the township bought, right?
Yeah,
no.
yeah, that,
Oh, okay,
He's gonna put that in Jen's.
Yeah.
okay.
Just move the stuff into it.
yeah. Yeah, thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the geocache course day with the subcommittee, or should we talk about that as a whole? Which, we have another month.
Yeah, we could probably set up a sub-meeting meeting
I
or
do like
something.
the idea of the springtime, so we could actually be out and
Yeah.
work and do it versus like, in a classroom in here. It's not as exciting in the middle of winter.
Maybe for the
Hitting
sledding
stage,
party, you
it'd be foot
can,
Tracks right to where you buried it.
Well, a lot of times people don't want to, be digging through snow and stuff or hiking in the snow to find it, and, it could be deep, I don't know.
If you don't want snow, you're looking at the middle of May.
I mean, I guess it would be, what's your level of comfort? Are you like the idea, hey, Sam, go figure it out, get a date scheduled, let us know if we can show up to it? Or do you want to have more involvement where you're figuring out times and dates and what you want to do?
I think if Sam can do some research and logistics on what's all involved, and then maybe propose a winter time and maybe a springtime date, and then subcommittee can,
Sometimes you could maybe find something that coincide with like an Earth Day event.
November, October. Earth Day is in October, we've already had our,
I thought it's in April.
No, Earth Day's in April.
geocaching recognizes it in October.
There's a
there's an actual,
There's a separate geocaching Earth Day?
Well, it's actually, it's what's recognized by the Geological Society. We recognize it in October, November.
Oh,
October, because we just had the souvenir for it. Something else you can think about, and I don't know if it's been mentioned, but we host events all the time. People have events all over the place. Uncle Dick, who places cash, held one at the BC Pizza Place in the township. You're gonna have to help me out with Airport Road.
Lafreniere.
Lafreniere, thank you, Lafreniere. That's where he held one all the time, like once a month or so. And so, and you can have just an event here if you wanted to, bring geocachers, and that's just a great place where you get to talk to people, get hints and tricks for caches you can't find, or what to place, or how to use the apps, how to use the website. It's a wealth of knowledge that you can mix experienced cachers and new cachers together. And then what often happens is people will pair up, make friends, and go off geocaching, or hey, we're going to do this, do you want to join us? So instead of having an actual class, maybe you could start with an event.
Yeah.
Or an event to kick off when you do your cache, when your caches go live.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the Grace McDonald one will be live before the sledding party, and we can send people to go
Yeah.
find it.
They should be.
It would be
Here-
nice to
here
use
soon.
that opportunity, though, at the sledding party to educate. So whether there's some handouts, and this is what this is, maybe it would be fun to have like a little craft thing to make something. I know zero about it, but if it involves finding things and making crafts, it's,
I have a trifold pamphlet I can get to you.
okay.
Well, we could promote the future
For
educational
the,
event
yeah,
at the sledding
mhm,
party.
for the rollout,
Get-
or the educational program.
Yeah.
When is the sledding event?
It's,
That passed on the agenda.
It's in February.
It's usually the first Saturday.
Well, so we got plenty of time then to get you, I mean, it's not gonna be tomorrow, so I can
Yeah.
trifold it in.
December.
yes.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
our
will
banner
reach
says.
out.
usually the
Connect with
weekend
you.
before the Super Bowl, right? Or,
I was going to say,
Sorry to.
No, you're good.
just another idea real quick, I won't get too carried away, but
February is when we do it?
Yeah,
First or the second?
February 1st?
That's in our banner.
I think it's the second weekend is what our banner says.
Oh, it's the second?
I don't know the exact date, but the NParks conference is taking place up north
the 9th this year.
sometime in January or February,
can
so
you Google that?
It's the first Saturday is when we usually do it,
Yeah.
from 1 to
I was
3.
going to say that would coincide good, if that was going on. That might make it more difficult than it.
That would be the first?
Yeah, Saturday, February 1st.
Do we want to, we do have
Other items that.
an agenda
Yeah.
item for it.
I can't seem to find a picture of the banner, but
It was the first
Yeah,
Saturday of
that's what,
February.
yeah, that's what we had, so I'm gonna assume that's right. All right, so Sam's gonna look into some more details for the geocaching events, and then we can probably pick a couple dates for next meeting to finalize that. If there's no more discussion on that, we can move on to the business before the Parks Commission. 9B, there's a 2% grant application.
Could you, excuse me, could you at least just send out when the subcommittee's meeting, because it's meeting, so maybe I might want to come and
Yeah,
learn a little more,
yeah.
maybe?
I guess,
Yeah.
Do we, I mean, you guys are all here, do we want to just pick a date to discuss that now?
yeah, maybe half an hour before next month's meeting?
I like it.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
Works for me.
I need to figure out what date that is.
November 18th.
November 18th. So November 18th at 5:30 PM, the geocache subcommittee will be meeting for a half an hour for anyone that wants to attend. So, okay. So 9B, the 2% grant application discussion, which you can all see there's some paperwork in here about a grant application opportunity with the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians. There's some options that we could potentially use this 2% grant with. Grace McDonald Pavilion, trail signage, Holiday Woodlands, natural area planning, or Hammond Park planning would fall within the criteria of this grant. I don't know.
I'm favoring infrastructure over planning. Killingsworth is fine as its rustic stuff, so my inclination is to vote for the pavilion, just because I think that's a good attainable project, much like the updated gens, trying to go for some more low-hanging fruit. That's
Yeah.
something we can get done within a year with general fund dollars, if we need to match their 2% amount with our general fund dollars. I think that's something we could probably do with this funding. And then next year for the sledding party, we'll have a nice updated pavilion.
Yeah, I would agree. Knock out some of our current projects, and if we have an opportunity to potentially get some extra funding to help out, that would be helpful.
I do like the idea of using or applying for the funding on behalf of the pavilion. I would also like to suggest planning for Holiday Woodlands. That's a project that, currently, we've got the community group working on it. We're going to have the public input. That's a project that kind of is already rolling. And it would be nice to do that. I wonder, do we have any information about what kind, I know we can just look it up. Have we looked up so far what kind of projects typically get funded, or is it a pretty good spread? I wonder if it would be advantageous to check that out.
They do a lot of educational stuff, like
Yeah.
shelter, women's resources, a lot of school stuff. But some small park stuff. I want to say they did I think they contributed some money to the Blair water pad maybe. But yeah, every 6 months it's in Up North Live.
I know, I read through it and I was
what they
like-
give it to and how much. It's usually 5, 10, 20, 30.
I guess I would kind of support the pavilion,
I also like Holiday
but
Woodlands.
I do want to advocate for Holiday
But
Woodlands.
I also understand that there's multiple groups working on that are doing stuff, whereas no one's going to work on the pavilion but us.
And I think with the sledding or the pavilion enclosure, especially for winter use, and that is a great thing. Helps get everyone out for outdoor activity, even though the weather's not as nice as the summertime, so family orientated.
People will rent it more too if it's nicer.
And it
Use it longer.
increases the season, whereas you can hike lots of places.
In Holiday Woodlands, I think we're going to try to put in for a trust fund grant for the April application too. So to do the next phase of that, since that was a trust fund acquisition, now go to trust fund development. And we've done Grace McDonald twice for the trust fund, so we know how that's turned out,
Right.
unfortunately.
There.
This seems like a good way to maybe not get the huge warming hut that was dreamt up, but something that we could actually do.
Well, if we can,
It could happen still, just for now, just for now.
And then I do,
Enclosure.
like, the season extender, I think, will be really useful to us. And then also, there's been a lot of discussion here about, like, community programming, even the geocache thing, right? If we were able to have that at the sledding party, and if we did have a pavilion with heaters, that would be a nice place to do the craft, and it could be a cool joint thing. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Does the Conservation District use theirs in the wintertime a lot?
Yeah.
And it's nice and warm in there with the heaters? Oh, I like that word.
Anybody else have any input on any of the other?
I'm just questioning, refresh my memory on the community garden. Where is that in our list? I mean, it wasn't on any of this. I'm just saying.
We,
The 2% grant's not gonna be close to what the garden would cost.
Yeah,
It would cover some more engineering costs, but we've already spent,
yeah, in
I
looking
don't
at
think
what,
we
like,
need
the
more
$100,000 would accomplish that we had applied for previously with MDARD, this wouldn't really make any sort of, I don't know if we could even put in the fencing. I mean, so it wouldn't have really pushed the needle forward on the community garden as much as some of these other things would.
And my
larger
opinion is I would prefer a pavilion anyways at this point, right now.
Plus, this one, I think, hopefully will have the least amount of engineering costs, which I hate paying.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a structure that's already there, we're simply adding some drop-down sides, heaters, like, pour some concrete around it. I think it'll mostly be like labor and supplies that we're paying for.
Did we apply for discretionary funds or something recently? I feel like somebody reached out to us to apply.
Oh, with the Senate, was it the senator or the House?
yeah, that, still haven't got word back on that.
Yeah, I can check with Beth on
Yeah,
that.
I forget the name of it, but
Were we reaching out for the community garden, though?
Yes,
I believe
it
so,
was-
yes.
It was for a very significant
there's still
chunk of the
hope for
community
that.
garden for
Right.
that. Yeah, we, and I just don't know where that one is. But yeah.
Okay.
I want to say we didn't get it, but I don't know.
We
I
did-
really don't know.
We didn't get the MDARD funding. That's the $100,000
I remember
we
right, it's
applied
supposed to
for.
take a
But that
long
went
time.
But
for
the
the-
other one,
Yes,
I'm
because
not
it's
sure.
federal.
Do you need a motion from them for this 2% grant, or we're just?
it's just
Do we need to say, like,
discussion.
how much money
Yeah,
we want to put up or anything like that for the actual application?
I was just looking for kind of direction on which idea you guys were leaning more towards, and then I was going to go work on getting some more hard numbers for you guys based on that.
Yeah, because the submission date is the 31st of May, right?
November 30th.
No, I thought I saw a November one.
Well,
Oh,
they do it every 6 months, too.
Oh, yeah.
I was just application cycle, June, new submissions must be postmarked by,
But it does have to get approved by the Board of Trustees.
Well,
It goes in, right?
I was looking to see, I don't recall, you'll have to do some research to
Yeah.
see.
I think it's the highest approving body.
Yeah.
I think the highest proving body's always done it after they've received it, but I don't know that for sure. That was one of my questions, I was gonna.
I will find out.
I think.
well, it sounds like we're all in agreement with the pavilions.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So, we
Start
get,
down some rough costs, just so we know what we're trying to get to. And then we'll decide how much we're willing to take out of our own budget.
I'd suggest not going too overboard, though, with the ask, because I've noticed that it hasn't been, distributing out that much.
I think we already have some direction with our plans for the pavilion, so.
And I think Beth, wasn't she working on getting some figures together for that?
She had mentioned,
Yeah.
like, letting the heaters and talking to maintenance about what kind of sides would be best.
Yeah, so, all right. Well, I think Sammy got a good direction to move, if everyone's okay with that, and then maybe get some numbers to us here soon and go from there.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to business before the Parks Commission, 9C, the pavilion fee schedule review, which you can see attached at the back page of the packet. There's our fees for Grace and Killingsworth, but then you can also see some of the other parks in the area with what their rates and what they have to offer. I think we just need to review to see if that's still okay with us or if we want to change anything.
And I think one of the things that I found while getting all this together for you guys that I thought was interesting that I wanted to point out to you guys is that Graylickville Harbor Park does have a refund for cleaning if it's cleaned. And that might be something that you guys want to consider implementing, is like having a deposit that they pay that may be returnable on top of their like rental fee, and to help ensure that it's cleaned up once people use it.
Do we have
I was
any
gonna say, do we
idea
have
if
no
it's,
issues where it's like messy up?
There was some confetti used at one of the parks
Okay,
recently
yeah.
that Dan had to go clean up and couldn't quite get all of it. So we're going to make sure that the documents that they receive when signing up are clear about what is acceptable and what isn't, but it is helpful to have some skin in the game for cleaning up the park.
I would suggest doing a damage deposit or something,
Yeah.
rather than like refunding
Yeah.
a cleaning fee. Because, then they might complain, be like, my standard of cleaning is different than yours, and a damage fee,
that
we'll be the judge of the extent of the damage.
Maybe you could just have it as a deposit. I would probably say $40. I mean, obviously, if we keep the same rates for a full day, $20, and if you say, okay, your deposit's another 20, they're going to go, who cares, I'll trash the place, and for $20, it's worth, you know what I mean? But if it's $40, then that might be, and just as a deposit, make sure that everything is in place and not damaged, and it's cleaned.
They'd have to pay 60 then and get 40 back, is that what you're?
No, well, so if they get the full day, it'd be 40, but whether it's a half day or a full day, I would just do a straight 40 for all the parks, or all the two that we have.
The other,
It's a $40 deposit, they'll get it back. I don't know what kind of paperwork that would be for the township.
yeah.
That's the
that
other
might be
thing.
more of a headache than anything, but,
Yeah.
if it's just for $20, we might just want to leave it, but.
Yeah,
see
I was
what-
just
maybe
thinking,
what
talk
he
with the
thinks about it.
treasurer, that might be another headache.
Or
Yeah,
just-
I don't want to waste man hours in cleaning up after people, but I also don't want to waste man hours in
Hours
billing and
billing?
Yeah.
depositing money back to people's.
Or make the contract a little more firm?
Yeah, and actually, I
recommended.
think years ago I rented over there at Graylickville, and I don't think there was a deposit at all, but there was there that, I was responsible for any damage or cleanup that had to be done.
We just reserve the right where if not left in good condition, we can charge a cleaning fee after the fact. I mean, they have their home address.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah.
collect it from.
They probably for, in Elmwood, they probably keep the deposit, I would say, 3 times a year. For Graylickville, they do it for Graylickville and Cherry Bend, and they probably, most of the time it's because of confetti, honestly, is why they end up keeping the deposit.
Maybe we get some stern confetti language in the rental agreement.
Some signage, like
No
a smoking
confetti,
sign, but with
yeah.
confetti.
Just make it a rule, no confetti. Bam.
I don't know, I mean, just, if it happens all the time, or if it was just the one time, I guess just maybe in the paperwork that they sign, be considerate of those that that takes care of the parks. I think a lot would go a long way if you just have it so that they understand, and it's in that agreement that they're signing, and then there's no money switching back and forth for a deposit, and
When someone is to rent the park or the pavilion, how is that handled? Is it just like, here, sign here, and we take the funds, or is it explained by staff?
There is a form on the website currently that they would download and fill out, and that has in there what is permitted activities in the park, and then they would submit that to us with payment to rent it.
So, yeah, they should have read the rules and guidelines, but
Just because they read them doesn't mean they care.
no.
And I'm happy to review them to make sure that they all
I think so. And
look
I-
good and are sternly worded against confetti and.
Yeah.
How often do we experience issues with renters?
think
I
it's
only
pretty
know
minimal.
of the one that I've heard of recently, but I don't know
Right.
historically how, I'm
Yeah,
assuming it's pretty, I'm assuming it's pretty similar to Elmwood in that it's like probably a few a year.
I would guess too, most people are good renters, you know, but you just,
That's been my experience as well, managing the pavilion rental at the district. Yeah, and like the community space, it was one time that I had to email someone about sweeping. So, yeah, I think rewording that is probably will cover our bases. I do want to say I like that our prices are affordable. I like that it's accessible for folks in all various segments of the community. I wonder if, because, okay, we just decided that we want to apply for some funding to put in the gas heaters in the walls. And so that, I think, would be an additional cost for renting. So I wonder if we should just kind of, you know, because I'm happy with this as is, maybe like revisit that later.
I think we should revisit that
Since
later.
we have plans to update the
Yeah.
pavilion.
If we give them a nicer product, I can understand. maybe
Right,
open it up a little bit,
yeah.
but I do love how much cheaper we are than everyone else.
Yeah, I do like, yeah, being accessible. So maybe we can bump it up a little bit. I don't know the last time we changed these, but it does feel a little bit silly to go to the work of updating them now, knowing that our goal is to then change them again, hopefully sometime next year.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe just like revise the whole thing all at once.
Yeah.
So what, I don't know if this is common, but do any parks provide a broom and a dustpan at the pavilions? I think that would, if you provide some tools to clean up,
Well,
but people aren't going to show up to
The
the
township
pavilion.
would know when that's being rented out, and it could have labels all over it, a broom in a, you know, container, to just have that there the day that they're being rented out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying the day of that rental.
I mean, you do, people are going to probably steal that stuff, but if you don't, yeah, if you
I was
don't.
gonna say, the TART has to chain up their shovels when they leave them out
Well,
on the trail.
probably.
You know, so I
Yeah.
mean, I would assume we'd have to do something similar.
'Cause it would be kind of hard to, you know, you're renting the pavilion. I mean, when I rented, I didn't even think of bringing a broom or a dustpan or anything. I mean,
If you
think it
don't
was
have
already
You
there.
don't have trash cans, people make their own trash pile, so.
Does somebody usually go out and check on it before a reservation or anything? I know, like, we pick up trash and stuff, but.
I believe Dan goes out to manage those as they're rented afterwards and check on them to make sure that they're clean and everything and ready to go.
A lot of times it's just a matter of, you know, if there's a water source, you know, a spray hose, and then
Yeah.
if you need a leaf blower,
yeah.
blow it out.
Well, and the other thing, you know, in the summer, those things are rented, you know, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if he goes Monday morning, well, who's to say who left the mess? If you had multiple renters on each day, so.
Well, and no confetti is allowed, so theoretically, they should be pretty easy to clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess is everyone okay with keeping our rates as is and then reviewing the rental guidelines?
After we update the pavilion.
Yeah, I guess Sam can just quick
He's
run
just
through.
going to
Yeah.
update.
He's going to
Quick.
update the
sorry.
rental guidelines,
yes.
just
Yes.
make sure they're,
I thought you
Make sure that they.
Yeah, and then
the
once-
things you guys have kind of mentioned.
Once and if we do any upgrades, then we can also then put in some more rules.
Or if they start using glitter, then we'll.
Now, glitter might be something
Word.
different.
There's no getting rid of glitter.
If I start seeing glitter, I might be personally out there to manage that.
But,
All right.
okay. Moving on to business before the Parks Commission, 9D, the sledding party date, which I believe we've kind of already a little discussed it. It should be the first Saturday of February
Yeah, from 1 to 3.
is what we have the banner and stuff designed with, I guess. If everyone wants to just go ahead and double check that.
1 to 3? 1 to 3.
Okay. February 1st.
I,
It is the first, yeah. So if you need a date,
Yeah,
remember
it's
to.
February 1st.
as of right now, I probably will not be in town that weekend, so. Already-
We will allow it.
Yeah,
I'll rip a couple runs down the hill for you.
yeah.
If we have snow.
I know.
Remember last year, it was
Last
we
year
canceled? Did we?
Yeah.
It was rain, was it rain? Yeah,
There was snow, but it started raining
yeah,
pretty good.
it was raining
so-
all weekend, yeah.
One year, it was a whiteout blizzard. You were there.
Cold.
I was there. Hardly
This is our
anyone
year.
else.
February 1st.
So far, we're,
Best one ever.
we're.
The year
are we
before
one
that, it
for
was like
3 or 1 for
ice.
2? 1 for 3, I think. 2 years was canceled and 1 year.
And I challenge any one of you.
We've had at least 2 of them.
We've had 2.
Oh,
We've
have
had
we
2 and
2?
canceled 2?
2 and canceled
So we're
1.
50.
We've only canceled 1?
I feel
I thought we
like
canceled 2.
No, we've canceled 2.
We canceled
we
our
canceled
first,
one.
Scheduled one. Did you
Oh.
move one back a weekend?
Oh, I think we moved one.
Because I
yeah,
think we kind of leave that like it's this weekend, but we might move it back a weekend if
Yeah.
need be or something.
yeah, that might be right,
I know you've had 2,
Yeah.
yeah.
but I don't know how many years you've had it, so that's the only thing.
We've had 2. We've canceled 1. We just scheduled the 4th.
Perfect.
Sweet.
And this one's going to happen.
Yep, we're
Yeah.
gonna have like 5 feet of snow, all packed down, and a bright sunny blue sky day.
Start your snow dances.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. No more on that. We'll move to public comment. Nothing? All right. Moving on to the upcoming meeting dates for our regular meeting would be November 18th, 2024.
So for that date, that's going to be after the election, and we'll find out if we get elected into our seats again, which I'm pretty sure everybody's, I think we are by default, but do we still have to take the oath before this meeting?
No, you don't get seated until the 20th. So
Okay.
you probably want to check with the clerk to see how, if she wants to come in, maybe just before the meeting, and give everybody their oath at the same time, or make arrangements for that. Because you could take your oath, so then you're ready to go, and you don't
Yeah.
come back.
And also at that meeting, I think we have to fill president and
I
chair.
thought we did that in January. didn't we?
No, we always late. It should be in November.
Elect officers in November, and you want to review your bylaws in November, too.
Yep.
I have conflict. I'll try and get out of it, though, because I want to come to this meeting. It sounds like a great meeting.
It's gonna be a great meeting.
And you're gonna have the
Bylaws and
subcommittee
voting
meeting just
and-
prior.
So we don't get seated, so this will be at the end of our term, and then, okay,
Yeah, your next term starts on the 20th.
but we'll know the results, so we could
Right.
technically vote on the, officers and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if not, then, if somebody doesn't get elected, then you just hold off on the election, or,
Yeah.
We've done it in January before.
right?
Yeah.
But there's only 6 of you on the ballot, and then 1 additional write-in, so.
I hope you get it.
If somebody else writes other people in.
No, you have to fill out paperwork.
Right,
Oh, so nobody else has filled out paper, so it's only you?
I asked and they don't think so.
Yeah.
My dog Mabel might sneak onto the.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else and there's no issues with the upcoming meeting date, I think we'll move to adjourn the meeting at 6:49 PM.
Second. That was an efficient one. Good job, team.
Yeah.
Yes.